A week into the ground assault on Ukraine, and the Russian tactics are growing more ruthless by the day. Artillery and cruise missiles are the weapons of choice, along with sporadic attempts to occupy territory with armoured columns. But Moscow is already facing fierce resistance, with Ukrainians defiant. And in this case, defenders armed with Western-supplied weapons appearing to bring down a Russian helicopter.
Yes! Yes, блядь! Два!
One major question is whether President Putin has the agility to abandon a failing strategy. The Defense Secretary believes a pivot is already underway.
The Russians are changing their tactics. They realise their initial plan was a failure, and so what we see is nighttime bombing from the air because they are frightened of anti-air during the day. We've seen those massive bombardments and potentially encirclement rather than actually going into the cities where they know they'll lose thousands of soldiers.
The brutality shown 22 years ago in Grozny, in which vast swathes of the Chechen capital were destroyed, is a sign of just how ruthless Russian tactics can be. And some fear the same fate now awaits Ukrainian cities.
We will see the Russians surround areas of the city, issue warnings, and then they'll devastate areas, and anybody left in there will be assumed to be hostile. That's how they'll work.
In Syria more recently, Putin's campaign to support the Assad regime was almost based entirely on the Russian Air Force. It involved a relentless bombing strategy that showed no regard for civilian life. But so far in the Ukraine operation, perhaps uncertain of its control of the airspace, Moscow has not yet made full use of its bombers, although air assets are certainly visible on nearby military airfields. One of the great uncertainties is Russian troop morale, and whether this fratricidal war will lead to mass desertions. What is clear, though, is that the horror of what is being unleashed may only be just beginning. Robert Moore, News at 10.